This is Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Here now, Tony Bruschi.
I still love you. Ha ha. That is what Brian Walshe texted his wife, Anna, on January 2nd of 2023, according to prosecutors. Anna was already dead by then. That's a key distinction. In this, already in pieces. Her remains allegedly scattered across dumpsters from Swampscott to Abington. It sounds like a horror movie, doesn't it? And they found the remains in dumpsters in Swampscott, and then a few more in Abington. I mean, it's horrible. It is absolutely horrible. And this guy did it with a freaking straight face. My God. Brian Walshe making that search. Making that text. You had so many searches, and then you start seeing the texts. It's like, Jesus. How low can we go, Brian? I still love you, ha ha. And his Cohasset home, typing that out with his 3 sons. Right there. I still love you, ha ha. Give me your thoughts in the comments section on YouTube. We're going to break down the latest on the case, what's going on in the courtroom, because we've got another big week here that's beginning right now. We'll see where all of this goes, but we're going to kind of get you caught up on the latest insanity. Be sure to press subscribe wherever it is you're listening to us, if you don't mind. Give us a review there on Apple Podcasts. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, I know a lot of you are, please do leave us a review. That helps us in the rankings. Those people know we exist, so thank you for that. And if you're on YouTube, your comments, want to hear those, and also please hit subscribe as well. So let's get into this. That text was read aloud in a Massachusetts courtroom on Friday. That would have been December the 5th. That text was read there. Day 5 of the Brian Walshe murder trial. And if you're looking for a single moment that captures the prosecution's theory of this case, a husband who didn't just allegedly kill his wife, but then performed the role of worried spouse for days afterward, that is the line. I still love you, haha, exclamation points, and all. You are so tricky, Brian. You're so much smarter than the rest of us. Here's the thing about those texts. They were never delivered. And his phone was never recovered. Investigators believe it was destroyed, along with everything else Brian Walshe allegedly tried to make disappear. So when he was typing, "Where are you?" and "the boys and I are worried," he wasn't reaching out to a missing wife. According to prosecutors, he was building an alibi, creating a paper trail of concern that he could point to later. With the questions started coming. "See, I sent a text. See, how could I possibly know where she's at? I sent these texts. I got a Warhol over here, and I'm working on a a brand new Picasso too. In case you're wondering, those are in the den right now. The kids are as soon as the kids are done with McDonald's here, I'm going to go finish touching up those for you. They'll be on eBay later today, and don't forget to check out our Etsy. Remember what I'm talking about? He was arrested and convicted and sentenced for art fraud prior to all of this, for selling fake Andy Warhol paintings. Yes, I know. If you're just new to this, you're like, what? Yes, this guy. He looks exactly like the type of guy who would do that too. I don't know, there's something about it. I'm not trying to profile people, but sometimes you just look at somebody, and if you, especially even after you've heard of what they did, you're like, yeah, I can totally see that. And some are like, what? That guy? Like this guy? Like, no. Yeah, I can see it. And the questions eventually did come. By then, prosecutors say Brian Walshe had already made multiple trips to home improvement stores, already purchased cleaning supplies, already allegedly used a hatchet and a hacksaw to do things to his wife's body that medical examiners are now trying to piece together from blood-stained carpet fragments pulled out of a trash compactor. I don't think he saw these things on the adult website he was looking at. It's part of this weird fetish that he was also looking up. What, another fun little fact of this case? Yes. So another aspect, and I don't know if we're going to get into it in this script, but I'll just kind of give you this little heads up. He's looking up on his phone in his infinite Google search wisdom about the affair his wife's having, and then the next thing he does is look up adult material about a wife having an affair, and the husband sitting there watching. That's where this monster's mind goes. From like fear and this is horrible to maybe there's a way I could enjoy this. Like, what? What? Massachusetts State Trooper Connor Keefe took the stand on Friday and walked the jury through the text messages extracted from Brian Walshe's phone. The timeline starts on January 2nd, 2 days after prosecutors say Anna Walshe was killed, and runs through January 4th, and Brian finally reported her missing. On January 2nd at 2:33 in the afternoon, Brian texted Anna about finding his phone. One of their sons had left it on a bed. Ha ha, okay, call me anytime. He wrote, then at 7:18 that evening, where are you? Exhausting day with the boys, and we had fun. Going to bed early. Big day tomorrow for everyone. I still love you. Ha ha. The casualness of it is what gets you. The exclamation points, the ha-ha, dropped in twice like he's texting about weekend plans. If you didn't know the context, you'd think this was a husband checking in after a long day. The prosecutors say Anna Walshe had been dead for about 36 hours by then, and Brian Walshe, well, he knew it. Because according to the Commonwealth, he's the one who killed her. Of course, they're saying, no, she died naturally in her sleep by this sudden, adult infant death syndrome, even though it's not an infant. She basically had SIDS, but she's an adult, and we can't explain it, and there's no body, so we can't check our work. We're just you have to believe us because we're trustworthy, right? I mean, look at the Warhols. Those were legit. Oh, they weren't. Oh, and we have a track record of lying about all that pretty much ever. But believe us. Gotta believe us. It's the bestest lie ever. Just, I say it's true, believe. This is like the attitude he's taken on is that. By January 3rd, the text shifts tone. The performance of concern begins to escalate at 6:39 in the morning. Hello, where are you? I'm worried. Please call or email. By 8:32 a.m., he's threatening action. If I don't hear from you this morning, I'm going to report you missing. At 12:16 p.m., he's looping in family. I texted your sister and Alyssa. I'm calling Jeff if I don't hear from you. And then that night at 6:04 p.m., the boys and I are worried. After they had a great day, remember? They had a great, big, fun day. Not where we're. I mean, if your wife is missing, are you out going to the bowling alley? Like, are you out doing mini golf? Are you hitting the amusement park that day? Like, hey, mom, we don't know where the hell she is. And here's the scarier part. He knows what happened. He knows she's dead. And you're out. You're having a grand old time with the kids, or are you not? I mean, I know you went to Home Depot and all that. So maybe that's just part of the ruse, the grand old day. But these poor kids stay home. Little Jimmy, well, Daddy goes to Home Depot. I got to go get some stuff. What is he getting back? Dad, we're just watching Breaking Bad. Why does it look like you're coming back with the same stuff Jussie bought at the Home Depot? Nothing to worry about, kids. Eat your Happy Meals. Then January 4th, the day he finally files the missing person report at 10:14 a.m. Where are you? Question mark, 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 question mark. 9 question marks. 10:15 a.m. I'm calling Jeff now. The escalation reads like a script. Casual to connect it. Casual to concerned to frantic is kind of the way it goes. Beat by beat, it builds towards the moment when Brian Walshe walks into a police station and says his wife left for a flight to Washington, D.C. on New Year's morning to handle a work emergency, and he hasn't heard from her since. That was his story, that she just vanished, that he had no idea what happened. But here's what prosecutors have already shown the jury. In the days between Anna's alleged death and Brian's missing person report, cell phone location data places his devices at his mother's apartment complex in Swampscott multiple times, at home improvement stores, at pharmacies, at an apartment complex in Abington where surveillance footage shows allegedly capturing a man matching his description and walking towards dumpsters with a trash bag and a trash compactor behind his mother's building on the morning of January 5th. And a trash compactor. He squeezed her like a fucking cold-pressed juice. Allegedly. Investigators searched those dumpsters. They found Anna's clothing, items with her DNA and Brian's DNA, bloodstained materials, and tools. On Friday, retired Massachusetts State Trooper Heather Sullivan took the stand to formally enter those tools into evidence. One by one, she removed them from brown paper evidence bags and held them up for a jury. A hatchet, a hacksaw, a hammer, Craftsman garden shears, garden snippers, packing tape, and a measuring cup. Maybe he was making a pie at the same time. That's the physical reality underneath those cheerful text messages. Well, Brian Walshe was allegedly typing, "I still love you, haha." Prosecutors say he'd already used those tools to dismember his wife's body and was in the process of disposing of the pieces across the South Shore. The contrast is the point. The prosecution wants this jury to see a man who could commit an act of extraordinary violence and then pivot immediately to performing the role of loving husband. Cool, methodical, calculating. The defense, of course, sees it a little different. Larry Tipton, Brian Walshe's attorney, spent more than 2 hours on Friday trying to dismantle the prosecution's narrative. Hey, God bless him. I don't know how you do it, but this is, oh, bless your heart, as they say in the South. His cross-examination of Trooper Keefe was methodical, focused on context. The prosecution allegedly left out in investigative decisions that narrowed the scope of what the jury has seen. Tipton's argument boils down to this: you're only seeing what prosecutors want you to see. The digital extraction from Brian's devices covered December 25th through January 8th. A 2-week window. Tipton suggested that a wider look at Brian's search history would reveal something different. Innocuous queries about movies, restaurants, wine, normal life, not the portrait of a calculated killer the prosecution has painted. I don't think he realizes this in context, and maybe he's too close to the sun here, but searches for things other than that, other than like the crisis at hand, make him seem even crazier. Because if you're searching for movies, restaurant, and wine in between best hacksaw to chop up wife with, you might be even crazier than everyone thought. But somehow the defense is like, see, it makes them just like you and me. Larry, we need to talk. I think you might need some new friends in your life if you're thinking this is normal. He's not. It's his job. He also hammered on the timeline. Prosecutors have shown the jury a long and disturbing list of internet searches allegedly made from Brian Walshe's devices. Searches about dismemberment, body disposal, cleaning up blood. But Tipton pointed out that none of those searches occurred before the morning of January 1st, 2023. If Brian Walshe planned to kill his wife, why no research beforehand? Well, because he's an idiot. I think that might be the answer. First-degree murder requires premeditation. If this was premeditated, where's the evidence that he was thinking about it before New Year's Day? Well, there is. How about that one on Christmas Day where he's searching for her body dead? Anna Walsh's body. Huh? That might be one. That might be one. The defense's theory laid out in opening statements is that Brian Walshe woke up in the early hours of New Year's Day, found his wife dead in their bed unexpectedly, inexplicably, and then, rather than call 911, he panicked, made terrible decisions he's already pled guilty to, including misleading police and improper disposing of a body. But the defense says he didn't kill her. He just tried to cover up a death he didn't cause because he didn't think anyone would believe him. It's a risky plan. Some may just say idiotic. Brian Walshe has admitted to dismembering his wife and lying about it. The jury doesn't know about those guilty pleas. That's been kept from them. But the defense is essentially asking them to believe that a man can do all those things and still be innocent of murder. It's a heavy lift, but Tipton is building towards something. And on Friday, we got a glimpse of where he might be headed. He brought up Michael Proctor. And if you followed that case, the Karen Reed case, that name should ring a bell. Proctor was the lead investigator in Reed's case, and his conduct became a central issue at trial. But unless Michael Proctor was sitting there typing in these Google searches himself and texting Anna, Proctor doesn't do jack shit to this trial. Obviously, he made horrible, crude comments about Reed, and an internal review led to his dishonorable dismissal from the Massachusetts State Police in July of 2024, although I think they pinned it on something slightly different than that, but we all know the reason he actually got canned. What does that have to do with Brian Walshe? Well, Proctor was the case officer on Anna Walsh's disappearance. He was involved in the early stages of the investigation that led to Brian Walshe's arrest. Judge Diane Fournier shut down Tipton's line of questioning about Proctor on Friday. She didn't let him dig into the trooper's role in the Walshe case. But Tipton made clear he's not done. He indicated he may try to revisit the issue through later witnesses. Again, when you got nothing to go on, okay, yeah, Proctor's not good. Piece of shit. But just because he did really bad work over here doesn't mean he really did much over here. This is one of those cases where Brian just kind of dug his own grave. You can have the most shitty, corrupt police force in the world, and you still can't get around Brian Walshe's own actions here. That is just simply a fact. The implication is obvious. If the defense can tie this investigation to the disgraced cops whose credibility has already been shredded in another high-profile case, they can maybe plant doubt. Not about whether Brian Walshe did terrible things, he's admitted to that, but about whether the investigation that led to the murder charge was conducted properly, whether corners were cut, whether evidence was handled the way it should have been. Again, look at all of it. That's fine. But at the end of the day, there ain't nothing changing what this guy did. That's pretty black and white, that he's admitted to have doing. We're just kind of basically debating at this point, what was his intent? I still love you, ha ha. It's a card Tipton is holding. We'll see if it gets to be played and whether it's the flush he thinks it is. There was another piece of the defense's counter-narrative on Friday, the text between Brian and Anna from the week before her death. Tipton walked Trooper Keefe through messages from December 25th, Christmas Day, through December 30th, 2022. The picture they paint is different from the prosecution's version of the marriage. The couple discussed buying property, selling property. They talked about shopping for a Porsche and apparently wanted one. Brian texted her looking good when she sent him a photo of herself. They exchanged family pictures, normal couple stuff, planning for the future. Yes, but if you're also planning to kill your wife, you're like, I'm going to stop sending you normal personal messages because I don't want it to look too normal because I'm getting ready to murder you. That's not exactly how that works. Tipton's point is clear. Does this look like a man who was about to murder his wife? Does anybody look like the person who's about to murder their spouse? When they're trying to not look like, sure, some maybe, but anyway, where's the tension? Where's the conflict? I don't know. The tension, the conflict, how about the fact that he's got a fucking bracelet on his ankle and he can't leave the house because of the art fraud, and Anna has to travel and work crazy hours in a different city and she can't move there because of Brian. That might be some tension. That might be some conflict. Because of Brian's poor decision, basically the family is being held hostage at a specific place for legal reasons while she's trying to climb the ladder of her career, yet is being held back by the despicable blob of flesh that is Brian fucking Walshe. There's your conflict. There's your tension. He's just along for he's getting like a free, oh, okay, you're going to pay for everything. You're going to take care of everything. This is great. All I have to do is be Mr. Mom, and he still can't quite handle that. If Brian Walshe is planning to kill Anna, why was he texting her about real estate deals 3 days earlier? Because he's a con man. That's why. Of course, the prosecution has an answer for that, too. On day 4, the jury heard from William Fasto, the Washington, D.C. real estate agent who was having an affair with Anna Walshe. Fasto testified that he and Anna had discussed telling Brian about the relationship. Anna wanted to be the one to do so. She told Fasto it was about her integrity. She didn't want Brian to find out some other way. Even in that, still trying to have consideration for this jackass. And here's the detail that came out on Friday. Trooper Keefe confirmed that on December 25th, 2022, Christmas Day, someone using Brian Walshe's phone searched for William Fasto, D.C. real estate. Same day, he also searched about finding Anna Walshe dead. Brian Walshe was looking up his wife's boyfriend on Christmas, less than a week before she died. I wonder if he suspected anything. Tipton asked Keefe whether investigators ever found any messages between Anna and Fasto on Brian's devices, and Keefe said no. But he also acknowledged that it's difficult to determine whether messages were deleted, and investigators never recovered Anna's phone. Tipton pressed that would be pretty important evidence if you found any communication between Anna Walshe and William Fasto. Keefe's answer was yes. The affair is a thread both sides are pulling. Prosecutors may argue it's motive. Defense may argue it's a missing piece of the puzzle, evidence that was never recovered, questions that were never answered. We'll see how it plays out as the trial continues. The final witness was Dr. Richard Atkinson, a state medical examiner. His testimony was brief. He'll be back on the stand this week, but it set up what's coming. Atkinson explained that on January 10th of 2023, he received an unusual request. He wasn't asked to examine a body. He was asked to come to a medical examiner's office to determine whether items recovered from a trash facility in Peabody contained any human tissue. Prosecutors showed him images of blue and white carpeting stained with what appeared to be blood. Atkinson confirmed he recognized the items. This is where the case gets forensically complicated. Anna Walshe's body has never been found. Prosecutors are trying to prove murder without a corpse. What they have is Anna's DNA evidence, blood-stained materials, and items recovered from dumpsters. Atkinson's job was to determine whether any of those items contained human tissue that could be linked to Anna. His findings are coming, and they could be critical because without a body, the prosecution's case rests on circumstantial evidence, digital forensics, and whether biological material investigators were able to recover from the trash match Anna's. Before sending the jury home the other day, though, the judge offered an update on the trial's timeline. She'd originally estimated 4.5 weeks. Now she thinks they'll wrap the evidence portion in 3 weeks total, meaning about 2 more weeks to go. The case is moving faster than expected. Coming up, the jury's likely to hear from Anna Walshe's former boss, who was with the Walshe family into the early hours of New Year's Day. According to reports, he's the last person known to have seen Anna alive other than her husband. More investigators will testify about the evidence trail that led to Brian Walshe's arrest, and at some point, the defense will have to decide whether to put Brian on the stand himself. That's the question hovering over this trial. Brian Walshe has already admitted to dismembering his wife and lying about it. The defense is asking the jury to believe he didn't kill her, and she died suddenly and unexpectedly, and he made catastrophically bad decisions in the aftermath. If Walshe takes a stand, he'll have to explain all of it. The texts, the searches, the tools, the trips to the dumpsters. He'll have to make a jury believe that a man can do all those things and still be innocent of murder. It's not impossible, but it is a narrow path. For now, what we have is a courtroom full of evidence and a single text message that captures something essential about the case. I still love you. Ha ha. A man allegedly writing to a wife he killed, performing normalcy while her remains sat in trash bags, waiting to be scattered across the South Shore. If Brian Walshe is guilty, that text is a window into something cold and calculating. If he's innocent, if the defense's theory is right and Anna died on her own, then it's something else entirely. A man in shock, going through the motions he didn't understand, clinging to routine because he didn't know what else to do, because he's a wild animal out in the savannah, clueless as to how to behave as a wild cheetah because his mother coddled him far too long. Watches the Brian, feeds the children McDonald's, and takes a hacksaw to his lover in the other room. He knows not what he does. The jury will decide which version they want to believe. But either way, those words are going to be hard to forget. I still love you. Ha ha. Your thoughts in the comment section on YouTube. If you're not already there, search Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Would love to get your feedback. While you're there, please do press subscribe. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. YouTube by the end of the year. We might get there. We're like 10 away. So we'll see. 10,000 away. We'll see. And if you don't mind, Apple Podcasts, if you're not already there, please do leave us a review in the on this channel's page. We do appreciate that. Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Just search that and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much in advance. If you're liking what we're doing, we do appreciate your kind words. Until next time, I am Tony Bruschi, and we will talk again.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Bruschi and the Hidden Killers podcast.